If we haven't met before, I'm Sarah, an end-of-life planning advocate, normalizing conversations about end-of-life and estate planning before those conversations are necessary. I live in a different state from my parents, and I only get home a few times a year. A funny thing happened when I went home for the first time after the 2020 lockdowns. I realized my parents got old. No duh, they'd been slowing down for years before that, but after a few years apart, it was jarring. Luckily, we talk pretty openly about estate and financial planning, but even so, it got me thinking a lot more about the specific of my parents' estate plan and what my role within it will be. It also got me thinking about all of the other people around my age who are in a similar position to me, dealing with elderly or at least aging parents, but who maybe aren't lucky enough to have parents who have made estate plans or who are willing to talk about them, or who don't have a legal education to help them translate the legalese into understandable English. Where would they even start? In most cases, adult children will have some role to play in their parents' care as they age and in their estates after they die. This will always be difficult, but planning ahead and having important discussions ahead of time will give you the space you need at a difficult time. You'll understand what's important to them, where to find their important documents and what's in them. You'll know what their wishes are. Having had those conversations, you can be with your support system when that someday occurs, not trying to figure out in that moment if they had a will or where their bank accounts are, or trying to figure out what they would have wanted. A major part of dealing with aging parents is the emotional aspects of it. I recently saw a post on Instagram saying, "We don't talk enough about the anticipatory grief of watching your parents age." Truer words were never said. You need to be aware of and deal with the emotional aspects of watching your parents age. But I also know I am not the right person to help you consider or manage those emotional aspects. I am a paperwork person and I am a logistics person, but I can tell you firsthand, the emotional aspects of it are very real. Don't neglect those thoughts and fears. Talk to somebody qualified to help you manage your thoughts and feelings around assisting your aging parents. It is vital you talk to your aging parents about their plans and their wishes, but these are touchy subjects and are likely to be difficult or awkward conversations. Here are a few items to consider before you have the conversation. Don't wait, but that said, pick your moment. Don't wait for the right time to have the conversation. There is no right time. It's never not going to be at least somewhat awkward. Even if everyone is okay with the idea about talking about an estate plan, I am yet to come up with a transition into that conversation that isn't at least a little bit awkward. There isn't an unawkward say to your mom, "So, Mom, I was thinking about you dying the other day and..." One transition that I find works well is to mention something that got you thinking about it. I give you permission to blame me. That you were talking to a friend or a coworker who had this or that happen, or you saw something in a movie or something on Instagram or Pinterest that got you thinking about it. Or watch the movie The Farewell together and use that as a jumping off point. Don't let it being awkward delay or prevent the conversation. Later may be too late. That said, the conversation will be hard for you. It will be hard for them. It will be hard for everyone else involved in the conversation. So pick a moment where you can really talk. This isn't a throw it in at the end of a casual visit when you're in a rush kind of conversation. Ultimately, know that it's often harder to know that you have to have the conversation and to constantly put it off than it is to just have the conversation. Consider the scope of the conversation. There are so many things that ideally need to be discussed. It's a lot. So you might want to divide it up into different conversations. So have an idea of what you want to focus on during any particular conversation. Potential topics include legal documents, financial situation, healthcare, personal property and stuff, the assignment of roles, and living arrangements and social life. Include everyone who should be included in the conversation in the conversation. Don't create fears or ideas of going behind somebody's back. Minimize the chances of future fights over what you think your parents would have wanted or infighting between siblings or other family members. Having everyone involved in the process now may not prevent those later fights, but do what you can now to minimize it. Take notes. You may think you'll remember what was discussed. You won't. Take notes. Define your terms. Make sure you're on the same page. Estate planning often uses terms like equally, reasonably, and fairly. I guarantee that everyone involved in those conversations will define those terms differently. Be ready for disagreements or at least differences of opinion. Their plan is their plan. You can help. And while you might have opinions or make suggestions, their plans should reflect what they want done, even if that isn't what you'd do or that you think is right for them. If you don't like a choice they've made, try to understand your reluctance to accept their plan and try to understand not only what they want, but why they want what they want. Having the talk. Explain why you think it's important to have this discussion and that you want to make sure decisions are made and understood while those plans can still be discussed. Explain that they are helping you, that you want to be able to make decisions for them in a way that they would want. Discuss their goals, wishes, and priorities. Ask what they want. How do they envision their future? Do they want to age in place or do they want to downsize? Do they want to travel or work in the garden? Are there concerns about living somewhere with stairs? Understanding where they are and what they are thinking about will provide insight into the type of living and financial arrangements that will suit them best. A question I find helpful here: what do you find yourself thinking about? Questions to ask. What documents and directives are already in place? Document what they've already planned for. Key documents that should be considered and discussed are a will, a living will or an advanced care directive, including an appointment of a healthcare agent, a financial power of attorney. For documents that have already been completed, discuss where the documents can be found, when the documents were last reviewed. Are those documents still current and accurate? What's in those documents? Especially for something like a living will or an advanced care directive, being able to ask questions and understand their wishes is priceless. Who has a role in those plans? If they don't have legal documents in place, that needs to be addressed ASAP. Contact an attorney to assist in drafting any necessary documents. What should I know about your finances and insurance? This might include financial status, plans that have been made, such as trusts, financial powers of attorney that have been set up, location of bank accounts, retirement accounts, and investment accounts, and if any of those accounts have named beneficiaries, tax history and issues, any outstanding debts or loans, life insurance or long-term care insurance. What other information should I know about your home, accounts, and other affairs? There is so much more to helping manage someone's life and home and wrapping up their affairs after their death than can be found in legal documents. Discuss Do they have a when I die binder documenting information about their home and their stuff? What is the location of personal documents like birth certificates and social security cards? The location of ownership documents for assets like homes and cars, email and other digital accounts and passwords, information about their wishes for a funeral, body disposition, and their obituary, their wishes for ongoing care of a pet, who's who, and designate roles. Who helped them create their plans? Who do they expect to help them going forward? Who are their professional advisors, for example, the accountants or attorneys and tax professionals? Who has already been assigned roles in their plan, such as executors, agents, or beneficiaries? Note, if they have wishes for who should play a role in their future plans, but those roles haven't been formalized in a legal document, that needs to be addressed ASAP. Who do they want to support them as they get older, and how? Who do they want to be contacted about their death or their funeral? How is their living situation working? Where do they want to live if they start needing more help? Driving and transportation issues. Determine what needs to be done and how you can help. Based on the discussions above, determine the next steps and who can help with what. Options may include meeting with an attorney to complete legal documents, meeting with financial advisors, starting a When I Die binder, determining home renovation options for aging in place or alternate living arrangements. Set up check-ins and revisit the conversation. This won't be something that you can have one conversation about and be done with. So plan on check-ins to make sure the next steps are being taken. It's all too easy to procrastinate on these ongoing conversations. It's vital that plans keep moving forward.